First official preliminary report has been released by AAIB India. Both engine cut off in 1 second. The shocking truth behind the flight Air India 171 crash. So, a brand new Boeing 787 took off from Ahmedabad, flight 171. Within 20 seconds later, it exploded into fireball. The engine did not fail. They were shut down manually. That's what the report says. So the question is why? Who did it? What the AIB preliminary report confirmed, the pilots were well rested, passed breathalyzer test, and there was no bird strike that they should cut off the engine and just to save the engine. And there was no dangerous cargo on board. There was no fuel contamination. These are the findings of the official report of AIB. And the takeoff was normal. Gears and the flaps were configured properly. And at 1:38 p.m. and 40 seconds, the both engines' fuel cutoff switches were flipped from run to cutoff. And these switches are manufactured in such a way that they are not the normal on-off switch. It has to be pulled with three fingers up, on or run and lock. Then again if you want to put it off, then again you have to pull it. It is spring loaded and turn it to run or cut off and lock. A three-step procedure and in 1 second. So the CVR record says that one pilot asking to other pilot, why did you cut off? Other pilot replies, no, I did not. What to say at this point? I wish they should have a camera in the cockpit and they should think about it that they should install tiny camera, maybe 30-40 bulbs, and in $1 million machine. I don't know why they don't put that tiny camera, which will help a lot in the investigation. And at 1:38 p.m. and 52 seconds, they tried switching back to run, and aircraft was already too low. And at 1:39 p.m. and 11 seconds, flight 171 crashed in flames. And these switches action is only allowed to cut off when the aircraft is parked and they have to shut down the engine, because there is no use of running engines while it is parked, or if they have some sort of emergency in the engines like bird hit and engine on fire above 3000, then they can do it manually to cut off the engines. And this was the during initial climb, and no protocol allows that. So why this should be physically impossible? The fuel switches are spring loaded and require, I told you earlier, that force with the three finger pull and have the mechanical lock, pull up, lock, pull down, lock, and shutting down both engines simultaneously in 1 second isn't normal or easy. And there are some issues also. The FAA, Federal Aviation Agency, previously warned that some Boeing 737 and 787 had a locking feature disengaged. Upon this information, the Boeing company advised the airlines to inspect and keep in mind, just simple advice, but did not enforce, just advisory, not mandatory. And they ignored more warnings and missed checks. The previous crew of the same flight reported snag that stabilizer sensor issue maintenance. They troubleshoot and cleared in 1 hour. Though it's not related, but these are some snags before the flight, and maintenance team released the aircraft despite prior stabilizer sensor issue. And even the passengers in the same flight, earlier flight, and on the same aircraft, they reported that electrical and control anomalies. Also, the pilot union president questioned why were the pilot excluded from the investigation? Why were not the FAA safety bulletin enforced? And one more thing, that the rat was deployed. So why the rat was deployed? It's a protocol breach, because ram air turbine deployed just in 5 seconds after takeoff, provide minimum power for electric and hydraulic, not generate the thrust. Normally deployed 30 to 50 seconds after the failure. Again, after the failure, not within 5 seconds after departure. It will not, I mean, it is not justified. And the training manual strictly forbid touching the fuel control switches before 1000 feet altitude, and no engine fire or damage before the cutoff, just the manual shutdown. And in one of the video, the Captain Steve also mentioned that this was dual engine shutdown, rat deployed but too low to recover. So what are the real possibilities? Is it a pilot error? Is it a mental health issue? Is it a system failure, a short circuit, or the faulty Boeing fuel switches hardware, or it is improper switch installation, maybe sabotage, many things. But the report says the pilot cut off the both engines manually. That's what the report says. Basically, the no cameras in the cockpit, no visibility into the pilot movement, and you can do it in few bugs, and 200 million jet could have shown what actually happened. I strongly suggest that the manufacturers of the aircraft, or maybe the airline, think about it. What is the best piece to help investigation? Small, tiny camera. There are some possible thing that the pilot history. One of the captain, he was taking good care of his grandma, and the co-pilot was engaged, and in couple of months he was getting married, and they were normal. The possible solutions are the mandatory camera, not just a voice recorder. And there are some bulletins like FAA bulletin must become legally enforceable actions, and there should be independent pilot representation in every crash investigation. And at this stage, that reinspection of all Boeing 787 fuel switches system globally. Also, the real-time control log black box upgrades. If the passenger reports some issue, must achieve and analyze. Do you agree with me? Or add some, please let the concerned people know. We must learn from every inch of this report or we risk of repeating it. Flight 171 did not crash because of bad weather. It did not crash because of tired pilot. It crashed because of two engines were shut off manually and we still don't know why until we install the right tools and enforce the right rules and include every voice in investigation to make our skies safer.